up usually pretty quickly. And then, you know, you can be embarrassed. Like, hold on. Oh, no wonder. Here. Oh, these are the books. I'm going to put Raymond's Harbor out.
All right, Chip, I'm going to send you. How many can I send you?
Yes, there is a list. Are you past retired?
Yeah, I'm going to leave it mid.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? Right there. Right between.
Whatever.
Is today the 6th?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, so you have it. You do have the. I gotta put you here. I don't mind doing this, but you know the thing is, so you have.
If you don't mind, let me just stick this in here so that he'll know how much they are.
Once. Sandwell, you're gonna be after Sandwell.
I'll ask him if I can just leave it here.
That's a big book.
Yeah.
And you.
I'm gonna hold on to these because I got it.
That's Laura Brady. I used to have correspondence with her. She was my first master in poetry. And Louis Simpson used to teach her at Berkeley.
Oh, I'm gonna save these for next week. Good.
Dan, can I just put this out for if people want to look at it or not?
Well, if you put it here, people might think it's one of the giveaway things.
This is the preview?
Yeah, these are the giveaway things.
Oh,
But you know what?
I
I can hold it up and then give it to you and say, if you want to look at it, Shiz will have it.
Okay,
Now, his first name is Shizway.
Shizwick, yeah.
Shizway will have it. I'm gonna try to say that because that way it is.
All right.
All right. Did anybody sign up who want? Are you here?
You can always come up and sign up at any time.
Except Tuesday.
Oh, except Tuesday.
Okay.
You know my birthday. You can't sign up for my birthday.
No, and nor my birthday.
But if you give me a hamburger today, I'll pay you Tuesday.
How about a vegan burger?
Yeah, but who said that?
Wimpy.
Wimpy.
Wimpy in the Popeye cartridge. I'll gladly play you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
No, no, Whippy. But
so,
Whippy was, guess where Whippy was from? Poland. He was a honky. Whippy was a honky. Yeah, that means that he was just dumb. It's an old word. You call it honky. That's called Polish people. They dumb. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Of course, there's a lot of things I don't know.
Whippy was from England. I just want to know. Whippy burger. He's from England, but he traveled to Poland too. Wearing that little hat. That's what the Whippy burger is. Yeah, they got Whippy burgers now. Whippy.
They have vegan ones?
Yeah, they got vegan. Yeah, vegan, right?
You know?
That's what Whippy found out. When he went to the running of the bulls, Whippy had a bad habit just looking at the bull. He had a bulldog. No, the bulldog was created for.
So am I framed correctly? Is there just one of my phone? Yeah,
Do my job here.
Oh, use this thing because that can do the thing. Yeah, I always forget to tell people that. All right.
Okay, there you are.
There we are.
Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this event of the generations, the seasons. This is the This is the sacred checklist, which someone reads, and since no one volunteered to do it, then I will do that. And it begins as follows. Hear ye, welcome to Sacred Grounds with Dan Brady as the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe, serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972, and I can speak to that because I was here on this stage in 1974. The stage is no longer here. Anyway, please support this reading by enjoying the food and drinks served here. Let's give a big hand for Teddy and Fiona, our hosts. Teddy's back there. Without him, we wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be here. Ook-ook-a-chook, you know? Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gents, is welcome, but we do ask you to respect the mic. That's this thing. right here. Where is that? Keep conversations to a whisper while the poet is poeting. Put phones on mute or vibrate or some other kind of thing that doesn't disturb you or anybody else. Ooh, I got to do that myself.
Thanks.
Ding dong, ding dong, the phone is dead. Which old phone? The old flip phone. All right. Let's see. Please keep conversations to a whisper, phones on mute, and do not distract the speakers or disturb them, even if they already are disturbed. Keep in time, the time limit is 5 minutes, usually 5 minutes, but that can change because we have two shows, the 7-ish and the 8:40-ish. For those reasons, I ask for generosity. By going short on your time, it helps to ensure that our tradition continues of getting everybody on the mic. If you want to be in the loop, we have an opt-in email list, Facebook page, YouTube channel, which we stream live from, through. I wonder what the preposition would be there. It's handy in 5 ways. You can see your family or friends can see you live, were they to tune in and do this at the right time. You want to hear somebody's poem again? Well, that's the way to do it, or unless you want to go over to the person's house and have coffee or something. If you want to hear so-and-so's poem again, that's what you do. If you want to do a self-critique, no problemo. And it's a way to put out your word, our word, mine, yours, ours, etc., etc., etc. We have an ongoing theme here tonight, or every night. Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. A quote by Margaret Mead. The evening's theme is paint. And even if you don't want to do a poem on that theme, that is the theme. It's not mandatory. It's not obligatory, as they like to say. Let's see. Oh, the next week's feature. Well, who's the next week? Oh, flip the page up. Who's the next one?
Next one is the Free Radical.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jan Steckel.
Jan Steckel will be here next week, so that'll be a real nice treat. The first show, the keynote is...
Wendy.
Wendy is the keynote. How could I forget that? Wendy is the keynote. Our feature is the legendary Slam team, which I don't think is here right... Oh, wait a minute. You're not from them, are you? Okay. No, I didn't think so. Because there's 3 or 4 of them, and they're not here yet. I hope they show up. That would be a really sorry circumstances. Anyway, so sometimes people come late, and a feature always can come late because they don't go on for about an hour or so. The last word is...
Gabriel?
Word.
Gabriel.
Is Gabriel here? Gabriel? Oh, man. And then the mini feature is...
Mini feature is Greg.
Greg Pond, who's in the house. Greg Pond over there. And I give him a raise there. And we have a fabulous door prizes, which we'll go over in a minute. Be advised that although we do record the evening, if an audience member wishes to do so, please ask permission. We will assume you have done so, should we notice a recording being made. So I'm going to go over the door prizes, and we'll get started in due course. And thank you very much. Keep those cards and letters coming. Or breathing hard. All right, so in the door prize category, Funeral Platter Stories. The title says it all. Poetry, April 2008. So this was while the dim bulb was still in power. Sierra. Oh, this is the Sierra magazine. Animals are smarter than you think. It's a cut. There's 3 really great articles about what they're learning about what animals think, and they're going to find out what they think of us. Hey, and then we have Oedipus's First Lover by Dale Jensen. Dale Jensen's a local poet, so it's a nice thing to have. And then donated fresh this evening, Raymond Carver, A Writer's Life by Carol Slanika. Did I say that right?
Show it to me.
Huh?
Show it to me. I'll try and tell you.
All right. So there are those. And if those don't float your boat, as we like to say, you could be the keynote, which Wendy is today. Choose the theme or prompt with... who chose paint? Oh, Sharon Scott Kish. I couldn't remember who chose it. The last word, which tonight is Gabriel. He starts and ends the second show. The co-pilot, which you see before your very astonished eyes right here, Mr. Tommy Avocolomeka. And is that There's one other one for crying out loud. What's the other one? Oh, the mini feature, which is an 8-minute slot of time in the second half. So there you go. All right. I'm going to get comfortable here. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Am I ready? Thank you. All right. So, Wendy, are you? She's ready to go. All right. So give Wendy a round of applause. I'm going to adjust this. No need to adjust the set. Okay, and like that.
Oh, so it faces this way.
Yeah, let me just get you focused.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, give a nice round. I didn't hear that. That was high. Get the evening started.
So I picked for my sharing a book called Broken Circles, and the subtitle is A Gathering of Poems for Hunger, and that's what really drew me to it. These are poems that were collected by the editors to create, to benefit food banks in 2 different states, and then they decided they were going to expand to 2 other states, including, or 2 other areas, including our area. So I'm going to find out if there was something done with San Francisco, and they were also going to expand to other areas too. So basically, people submitted their poems. It was all, for the idea of, the whole idea that food is really important, and also not only is it physically important, but it's emotionally important for what it does for people when they get together with others and eat. So, and the editors are Douglas Johnson and Keely Murphy. And these poems are from all over the United States, even though the food banks that were benefited were in certain states. Okay, so the first one is called Hunger. 17,000 children a day die of hunger. No metaphor will disguise that. 1 every 5 seconds. No words will describe that. 6 million every year. No shame or guilt or rage will change that. How many recurrent holocausts that our abundance helps us deny. 1 billion people around the world hungry. No judgment, no irony, no polemic will make that a number one can swallow. And maybe it is appropriate to choke on it, to gag at the enormity of it, and seek, need, heed the single face, the lone voice, to hear the voice of hunger in our own throat, to open our hands and find them empty. This next poem is called Jelly for the People in This House by Jim Bodine from Yakima, Washington. If the tongue could be in charge, it would teach us how to survive. We have to make the connections. This jelly can help. It is medicine. We have traveled to the other world. Hell yes, all of the savage worlds. Now is the time for stories. My mother said that there was this lady who climbed up the steps 1 at a time. We eat this bread with jelly, jelly that is medicine. Jelly knows our descendants. This jelly can listen to everything. This poem is called Nutritional Advice by Rosalind Brenner from East Hampton, New York. Taste this poem. Eat the skin. Suck the pulp. Delectable letters run down your chin. Lick them. Chew and swallow. Digest. Let the nutrients stay with you. Discard what you don't need. Word compost. Peonies will grow from this loam. Okay. This is called Why She Strolls Along a City Sidewalk Eating Raspberries by Terry Martin of Yakima, Washington. For good luck, to remember how summer used to taste and who she used to be, to soften the edges of those rushing by. The raspberries protect her, sweetly lighting her way, to celebrate the victory of round and juicy over flat and dry. Because the pint carton fits right in her palm, giving her something to hold. Because she likes the deep red dimpled in the shallow purple nest. Because they look like plump rubies and make her feel rich. And she loves the idea of having enough. This poem is called Eat Your Broccoli or Else by Maria Veres from Edmond, Oklahoma. You'll get scurvy and your teeth will fall out all over the floor with an enormous clatter, which will terrify the cat, who will leap into the chandelier, short out a wire, and blow every fuse in the house. The dog will sneak through the dark and scarf down every last pearly tooth. That dog eats anything. The tooth fairy won't ever come again. You'll have to go to the dentist for new teeth. She'll make you cut her 5-acre lawn with manicure scissors every Monday and Thursday for 3 years to work off your bill, because you won't have any money, because the tooth fairy couldn't come, because of the dog, who will develop chronic indigestion from crunching too many teeth and chandelier pieces, all because you wouldn't take one teensy-weensy bite of vegetable.
Yeah, you can do the one you did last. You can do the last one. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to close with this poem called Tears of Hunger by Jamie Turney from Spokane, Washington. Awoken once more by a familiar gnawing, a pain that consumes us, limits us. I hear sounds of faint, muffled crying, a crying I never expected to hear. What brought us to this place of needing? Food fills our every thought, feeling helpless and fearful. We try not to think about being hungry. It only makes things seem worse. People can go for days without it, can't they? The hard part for me, the really hard part, is explaining this to my children. Children who cannot feed themselves. Children whose silenced tears are heard. This is America. Not here. Not us. Right?
Wendy, she'll be back at the open, because the keynote always comes back at the open.
Okay, next up is Nasira.
Nasira, give her a nice round as she comes back.
Just get it so it goes, speak right into it.
Okay.
There we go.
How's everybody?
Pretty good.
Okay. So this poem is called Love for Myself. Love for myself. I fell. I fell victim, and sometimes I didn't even fall. I slowly winded my body into a position. I strategized my mind to close compartments that I couldn't even understand. I felt. My mind collapsed and my soul screamed out, "What the hell is going on?" I smoked myself into submission, subdued by the wits of the world. I was tired. Sex became a drug to him, but a connection to a different world for me. One where I only listen to my own self. Medicate, to meditate. Pulsating on his erection, meditate, meditate. This was the cure. This was the vibe. It was the right direction, I thought. Oh, the way I feel. But when the sun would rise, medication would wear off, and I spent my rising moments pleading with God to give me a different outlet. It was wild. It was crazy. It was everything I needed in that moment, until he held me, and I was empty. Meditate. Meditate. He could feel my heartbeat fast, and he would speak sweet things, his feelings, maybe lies, but the point is he would speak. My ears became deaf to all his words. Meditate. Meditate. He couldn't hear the screams, and when I turned my back, he couldn't see the stream of tears that poured from my eyes. My heart cried, fill me with love, with power, strength, and courage. Fill me with hope to give tomorrow another try. I'm tired. So tomorrow comes, and so do I. Still empty, I look into his eyes, and I whisper a lie. Meditate, meditate. Another day of tears in my eyes and another day of him planning our lives. I was knocked back into reality the day I told him how I really felt. Words of anger and rage seeped through his lips, but the motion of my hips always outweighed what could ever possibly seep through his lips. He became a lion, ready to roar but not ready to tame, not ready to build, not ready to claim, not ready to hold this black woman in his arms and feel her motherfucking pain. He became a lion. So I became a beast. I feasted off of sex, off of fake emotions, until I looked in the mirror and I seen a woman that glowed independently. Until I grabbed my own self and I said, I love you. It was that moment that the real medication was given. Not sex, not drugs, just simply the love of me. Okay, I have one more. This is a short one. I rushed through the days like lilies rush to bloom. I sat and watched. Watched the room spin and my heart tumble, for these days I miss you. And at odd times I think of you. I hope to God that you believe in him so I can someday have a reason to believe in you. Okay, so I'm selling my book here today. I have it with me. If you want to support, if you don't want to buy the book, you can still donate and support. I'm writing another book too, so that would help. But my book is $20.
All right, thank you so much. See you about that at the break.
Next up is Britt Peters.
Britt Peters, the mighty, the wonderful, the magical. Yeah, we'll get to that. Come on.
Trump log, March. The snorting bull in the china shop thinks bullshit is a clever phrase. This is prose, not poetry. This is fascism, not democracy. Look at the fools squeezing the flag. Ouch. Oh, mia patria, se bella e perduta. The theme, paint, a definition. Paint over to cover a verb. Paint that. The rough board, a stale line of poetry. What color? White. I'm just beginning, pure as the driven snow. Hard to believe that. Red then, eye-catching, flaring anger won't last. Tired of that color, that mood. Black then, paint over the ill-framed line. The rough, splinter-filled board, gone in the darkness of the night. The slumbering covered board, no starlight. Painters and poets. Poets steal the wonderful talk of painters. Painters see and feel the colors of utterance. Poets and painters at one time drank together. Poets and painters, a shared lust, an active hunger, the search for beauty, a focused yearning, the alert eye. The poet, the rumble in the gut, the rattling prosody, being in love. The painter, working bee, stretching a canvas, mixing the paints, staying up all night, being in love. A shared lust, an active hunger. Painters and poets at one time drank together.
Britt Peters, thank you.
And now Owen Dunkel.
Good work.
Owen
That's a
Dunkel.
good one.
Owen.
Yeah.
One done go. And then we have Shizway, Tommy.
With a Y.
Tommy with a Y, then Tommy not with a Y, then Sharon, then AJ, then Robert, then myself, then Richard, the cursive writer, and Ed for our feature, who are not here yet, but I'm hoping that they will be. They come from Santa Cruz, so.
Make sure you remember all that, 'cause we're gonna give you a quiz. Who the hell are you?
That's right.
The agony of sleeping with butterflies. I am fucking with hornets who help themselves to their happiness. Shards of liars help save poets. I am a mad soul searching the earth for stray blossoms of sunlight in the black hole of the hemisphere. This poem is groping to find itself, searching for the innocence of poets' lines. Their best lines are to be found when the sky is sleeping. Sometimes the moon wears velvet and makes love. Sometimes the sun hisses and kisses the sea itself. When we understand people, we pray that they are not as good as we are. I am, but not really. Lines have left me. I sometimes talk to the dust. Sound. The solemn, salty thunder, the solemn, the Salem's, I can't read the word. Thunder of the one waves make an impact on the shore. The shorebirds like sandpipers and seagulls. A cross between sandpipers and seagulls, as if sandpipers and seagulls had mated with the sparrow-like birds waiting along the edge of the shore. I crossed the great highway. The way the air is cold with air. The air is from the air. The great Lord wind. The air has appeared from nowhere. A dark sun bids the birds of Sunday a chaste farewell. There is no crying anymore. Life is a busy, bossy Trieste. Thorough thoughts living through the quiet day, hoping to someday become a cliche. An entity, a poem like prose. Accord the views of the weather, trees calm for a change, instead of windswept, angry at my changing moods. Authority is like an inscrutable oak, much like big business. Sometimes I wonder whether or not it is objective at all, or merely self-satisfied and sure of the fact that we are helpless and dull. We are trapped. Of course I am helpless and dull, stuck up to my knees. Ah, but how can I cry out? The answer is like air. Maybe the air is blue, like the striking, sticky sky that I love, and I'm convinced that by looking upward, no harm will come to me. My mind flails its arms and flies upward somewhere, somehow to heaven. I am Dr. Dreamer. Torn apart from an opera of red calypso, a red carpet of bad dreams, dreams I am glad I am finally awake from. I am glad I am better off than a bad dream, dreaming of a chaos of legs, eyes. Sometimes a chair would show up. Sometimes I am puzzled by a surreal mathematica, a mathematica of clowns. Clown costumes and a cynical crusty smoking a reality cigarette. The clown is noisy, turning the poet into a peasant, duller than a pile of dirt. A dull statesman, not even a fast-talking salesman. Begging, staring at the imagination of reality. Yes, the imagination of reality, waving at street corners that have been left behind.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Give him a round as he goes. And who's next?
I've never heard you curse before. You should do it more often.
Shizway Siegel, who is actually going to be helping me set up a whole series of features, is in April. And her magnificent voice shall now resound and be found within your minds. Give her a round of applause. And this is her first time here.
Well, it's my first time in about 20 years.
Oh, okay.
I used to come for a little bit years ago. Anyway, so Dan has been graciously invited writers from my community anthology, Endangered Species, Enduring Values. So we're going to be reading the last week in March and then all the month of April.
Yes.
So I am deeply honored and delighted to, to be reading here. And and then Kim Shuck is actually going to be doing the whole 20-minute
Yeah, she's going to do a 20-minute set, not her usual. Hi, look, bye. She's going to really go on the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, because she is so generous in creating reading opportunities for a lot of other writers that she goes to a million things and she'll read 1 or 2 poems and then cede the stage. I said, Kim, I want you to have the whole 20 minutes. You've been writing some amazing stuff lately. So anyway, tonight I'm going to be reading from a previous community anthology. They were both funded by the San Francisco Arts Commission. This one is called Standing Strong, Fillmore, and Japantown. This one came out in 2016. Whoops. Before I destroy the establishment.
Okay.
All right, so this is a piece of memoir, prose. It's called A Small Slice of Sky. San Francisco, 1998. A broken crack pipe, a couple of joints, and some Depends. A toothbrush, jeans, t-shirt, a paperback novel. That's all I found in M's overnight bag when I finally opened it. For 2 years, I'd held that bag unopened, like a prayer, waiting for her to come back and claim it, hoping she was not drunk in a gutter or dead. When I finally heard that she'd been sober for a year and working steady, I opened the bag. My heart twisted, seeing the small secrets she'd carried into my house. I first met M when I was doing HIV prevention in public housing. At first, the peer volunteers shied away from my Asian American face. You from CPS? To signal that I was not a social worker coming to take away their kids. I wore funky clothes with African beads. I even left my denture home to flaunt my missing front teeth. M was one of the first to accept me. She was quiet, dark as bittersweet, with a gap in her mouth like mine, and a scar down the side of her face. Her eyes drooped like she could barely keep them open, like she'd seen more than enough. But she was respected by the others, and faithfully picked up her weekly bag of safer sex materials to pass out into the community. I wondered what her story was. One day, when nobody was around, she came up to me and said, I can tell you, you can keep a secret. Besides, you aren't from here. If I told a buddy around here, my business be out in a minute. So, she told me about the Saturday night when she was 4 years old, and her daddy and mama took her to a Mississippi juke joint. Daddy sat her up on the bar so she could watch people dancing and drinking and having a good old time until Daddy danced a little too long, a little too close with the wrong woman. Suddenly, bright red, jetted from his neck. Deep, deep crimson, the color of roses, bloomed down the front of his white shirt. Just like that, her daddy dead, her mama in jail. Can't forget that blood. That red just comes down on me sometimes out of the blue sky. That's why I reach for the liquor, the Heron, anything. Her face twisted. I got a lot to answer for. I laid my hand on her arm. Em, it's not your fault. She shook her head. The Heron got my daughter too. She in recovery now. She'd be after me to clean up my act. Oh, I left the Heron alone, long time. But I drink every day, all day. I go to detox, but when I come back out, I get right back in it. We never had another chance to talk like that. Then the program funding ended, and one by one, my applications for refunding were rejected. I struggled along for pro bono, passing out condoms, CADs from the clinic, until my savings ran out after 18 months, and I had to go back to work in the corporate world. I was heartsick with guilt. When Em and her bag arrived on my doorstep after 6 months, the clouds lifted a little. She was fresh out of detox, desperate for a place to stay. She had taken 3 buses all the way across town to my quiet, white Asian neighborhood. I didn't know where else to go, she said. I gotta stay out of my usual environment for a while, till I get solid in my recovery. How could I turn her down? She was at my house for less than a week, but she brought us both one rung closer to the sky.
Tommy with a Y.
Tommy with a Y.
Isn't Tommy without a wife is Tom?
No, his Tommy with a Y. He's Tommy with an I.
He's with a Y.
He has a Y.
Oh,
He has an
we're
I.
trying to distinguish.
So the
That way we know,
Otherwise, you wouldn't know the difference.
yeah, you know.
It just be Tommy's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are going to take over the world. You mentioned.
I have a brother,
All Tommies.
Yes.
but he was Tom.
Yeah, they got a Tommy gun.
Oh, God.
Tommy guns for the Tommies.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right, I have one on theme about paint. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah.
You.
Okay. Peeling paint on concrete brings back memories of the year we moved in. Come home at lunch for la mienne. Aunts and uncles bringing marriage beds into new rooms, quenching the summertime heat by mopping floors and cracking watermelon. I've been to the countryside and back, 40 years pass. I've been across the sea and brought back the sun. Time continues to flow. We etched their memories onto records and photographs. The only thing is that you don't live here anymore, so it's getting harder to remember. And I'm visiting New York next week, so I have a short series of New York poems. Nothing like New York, where the grittiness infiltrates everything. Bleeding through neighborhoods, I tracked some from Bed-Stuy to Harlem to the Upper East Side. The people, the structures, the closeness of everything spurs them to action, to escape the periphery of suburban decay. Paradise lives in a brownstone off Central Park, but a $3 million mortgage locks the gates. Everything else is dust. I took some dumplings from Chinatown to Washington Square Park, aging poets and buskers after dark. Yet, this city always provides sanctuary to those who seek it. Pay what you wish at the Met, cheap coffee in indie bookstores, a free couch in every neighborhood. Late night discussions at the Hungarian pastry shop, quiet snow in front of Lincoln Center. That sense of urgency never disappears, but recedes just long enough to sink into reverie and conjure worlds both past and present. And one more on that series. A record is not just a record. Records can hold memories. A memory gathers pieces of past lives into a whole. Build a ladder to the gods, you can trip on your own. Another's memory means nothing to someone born too late, and everything to those who shared it. One word and that world reforms around us, so we can live the same again, if only for a minute. Lately, I've forgotten how to listen. Lately, my reality's been a little too digital. All these records sound the same to me, yeah, and I've run out of memories. Thank you.
Tommy with a Y. And now Tommy, have a call to Mecca. The other Tommy's coming up in the next round. Keep that going. Come on, ladies and gentlemen.
If she were Pinocchio, her nose would stretch around the globe several times. If she were hooked up to a lie detector, it would explode. If she were asked to swear on a Bible, it would ignite. When she's on duty, it's doublespeak. She's paid to tell us we didn't hear what we thought we heard, or see what we saw. She stands in front of microphones, cameras, stares out from my TV, from my computer screen, and what comes out is stranger than fiction. They tried to turn Pinocchio into a donkey. They've turned her into an ass. Can you guess who I'm talking about? Papa painted the house that summer with the help of a very handsome young man who stripped down to torn cutoffs the moment he walked in, had a habit of rubbing his chest and readjusting the bulge in his pants. His thick black hair curled around his ears and on his forehead like fusilone, which is curled pasta. He had a nose that traveled down his face like the Italian peninsula. Skin the sun had generously brushed with olive oil. Arms that already bore the marks of years of heavy work, though he was only 25. He lived in a world of hues, of walls and ceilings, gave no hint of wanting more than climbing ladders and stirring the various cans of pigment that he applied day after day. He knew paint intimately. Soon I would too. The kind of paint that came from Woolworths went on without a roller or a brush. I wore red lipstick with it, Putana red, heavy mascara, eyeshadow. I tried to walk along the edges, follow shadows, be inconspicuous in being so conspicuous. The paint was gender magic, molding reality into fantasy and fantasy into the forbidden. Lured curious men under my spell. I was the master of illusion. I could be whatever they wanted me to be. A magician. It wasn't a rabbit I pulled from their pants. Thank you, Sharon, for that. And I'm going to end, I think I have a minute or so. We're going to end with, I was asked, there's a little campaign going in some countries to prohibit the police from marching in pride parades because of what's happening with police murdering black and brown people. And I was asked by a local queer group that's planning to take on a campaign around this to make a statement about the police. You think you can just walk into the neighborhood, set up your little card table, hang a banner, shine your shoes and buttons, press your uniform, paste on a smile, and all is forgiven. You think some of us won't hold you accountable for the decades you smashed windows and heads, left blood on the sidewalk that is still there. The rain, the amnesia of a community desperate to be accepted, hasn't washed it away. The man one of you murdered still roams the streets. Death couldn't take him away. Justice wasn't blind. It was strung out on Twinkies. Do you ever hear the cries of those entrapped by your vicious vice squad that sought us out in cruising areas, rest stops? The men arrested in bar raids who lost their jobs, families, apartments, when their names were published in the newspapers because you didn't get your payoffs? Do you ever feel shame about the informants you sent into our meetings to disrupt, to interfere with our freedom to assemble, our right to free speech? How can you say you believed in those rights when you watched us as if we were criminals because we dared to advocate for our worth as human beings? And now you expect me to overlook your murder of black and brown people, your abuse of the homeless, the poor, and welcome you into my community. I'd much rather welcome the devil himself.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, who's next?
Oh, it's the
Sharon.
Sharon Scott Kishman. You kindly come forward, please. Take us back to the thrilling days of yesteryear.
Kansas City.
Bring him back. Bring him back.
Move this a bit. And then, yeah, get her set up there. Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. I picked paint
Yeah.
You did.
and the title of this is That Kitchen Needs Paint. Springtime usually calls for the start of its spring cleaning. Household repairs, always the customs. Leaves, eaves, fireplaces, basements, attics, garages. Paint, wallpaper, storm windows and gutters removed. Gardeners have to have everything ready. Some yards just have to be so good that you could trim them with scissors. Changing slip covers, drapes, carpets, furnaces. Filters, windows washed, floors polished. Walls scrubbed, wallpapered, painted. New doghouse, some dollhouses even get an overhaul. New wheels on that swing bike, and check those radio flyers. They must need some slipping up. Those big cars need overhauling too. Brakes, oil maybe, new white walls. New windows. Check roll-up handles. Horsehair upholstery might need replacing. God knows you don't want it scratching through your hair. Come on now, get close to the dry cleaner. Basements, mothballs, ugh. Cedar chests, bring all that shit out, air it out in the yard, and pretend that it's beautiful and you love it. Especially the kids have to pretend.
Huh?
Lumber yards are jumping, lots of wood repairing, leaks, dry rot, plans for extensions and garden repairs, hoses that are creaking, have to get new ones. Oh yeah, Mr. Adams can't keep enough screen on hand, rolls and rolls for repair. Windows. Listen kids, I'm going to replace that screen door once this summer. Do not put your hand through the screen and don't slam the door. So, what do our little girls think we should do? Well, they're putting up their doll houses, they're fixing the doll houses, wallpaper samples, that kind of stuff. So one day, the phone rings, and Grandma says, Sharon, it's Janice for you. Okay, go to the phone. Come over, you gotta come over. We got something really, a big surprise for my mom. You've gotta come here, you've gotta stay with me. This is gonna really be fun. All of us are coming over here. Everybody's coming over here. Ask her. Can I go to Janice's? What are you guys up to? Oh, nothing, we're just playing. Okay, be back before dark. Over I go, and I get there, and Janice has just the right thing going on. Look what I found in the basement. What'd you find? All this beautiful yellow paint. Oh, okay. And all the other girls are coming over too. And we're gonna paint, Mom's out, and we're gonna paint the kitchen for her. So, we drag the paint up, bucket by bucket. We pry it open. First we break a dinner knife, then we break another one, then we get the buckets open. Where's the brushes? Let's go downstairs and get the brushes. We get the brushes. They look like wooden soldiers. They're stiff. Okay, here we go. Ladder up. Can't reach it. Oh, you're taller, you go up. One girl goes up, one girl comes down. Girl comes down. Oh shit, she got a splinter in her finger. Okay, splinter out, and now we can start. Up the ladder we go. Stiff paint brushes. Oh, they don't spread that well. Well, we'll just smear it on like we do icing on a cake. Okay. Here we go with the icing on the cake, and there's why are the bristles sticking to the wall? Well, I don't know, but that's okay. We'll just paint over it. Okay, Janice. So we start to paint, and we start to paint, and we start to paint. Well, it's more like we start to smear, and we start to smear, and we start to smear. But remember, these little girls aren't that tall. So we can only get about maybe 3/4 of the way. So we stop. Boy, I am tired, and I am hungry. So let's go make some sandwiches. Oh, the door's stuck to the cabinet. Okay. Well, let's get another knife. So we get another knife, and we break the other knife. We get another knife, and we break that one, and we break another one. Meanwhile, one of the girls decides that we're going to go out, open the door, and get some air. The door's stuck. Okay, now, Judith, you can go out the front door and kick it from the back. And she goes out, and it works. Sticky, but it works. And so now, we burnt the bologna, we have our sandwiches, we're sitting down, and we hear Janice's mother on the porch. Janice runs to the front door. Close your eyes, close your eyes. We got a surprise for you. Bring her in. She takes her hands down, and she looks, and her mouth is open, and it's 1 tear, 2 tears. We're going, you love it. She says, I know it was a labor of love, but the next time you decide to do it, would you please call me? Call me. I don't care if I'm here, I'm at work, whatever, but don't just start it because we have to plan this. And so that was our labor of love. They call it Mellow Yellow.
Oh, yeah.
AJ White.
AJ. And then we got Robert Gordon, then me, and the cursive writer, then Ed before our feature, who we have not heard from. So I'm the free rider. That's one of my nicknames. Thank you.
There you go. There you go, baby. Take it off.
Stand in that jacket. I liked it last week. I don't like this week. Things change pretty quick. Anyways, for the theme, I'm gonna use for my paint tonight. I'm gonna use light tonight, because that's kind of what this is already going around. I got some Dead Poet inspiration. I'm gonna say I was talking about the Devil's Corner last time a little bit. I left the Devil's Corner about 2015, 2016 after I got my first copyright. Ironically enough, I didn't know who T.S. Eliot was until after I got that copyright. By the way, I happened to be 12 poems just like it, ironically enough. Some jackass jumped out of a tent downtown San Diego and started calling me Proof Rock or some shit. So I started reading a little about the guy. I misinformed, I think, a few people about his age when he died. Maybe I thought it was 77. Actually 76. My bad. Not gonna go kill myself over it or anything, but he is a fellow Libra. Anyways, so fire that cannonball, y'all. Yeah, let me see here. Jackass in the tent, downtown San Diego. The year I wrote this poem, about 2015, 2016. Anyways, I'm gonna jump to a topic. I'm gonna keep it simple and short, man. Suicide. All right. So it's hard for me to speak about like the martyr situation, the military situation going on. If you're out there in the streets, if you're out there, you're lonely, man. You're feeling cornered. You got no one in there. Find a coach. Call a number, man. I don't know what to say about it. I know how it can get. It's very fucking serious. I don't think it's as easy as they say at a lot of psych mediums. They sugarcoat shit. I still have hope. We need to pray. If you're that type of person, pray for them here. Try to stay ahead of the game. Pray for them over there to get through what they're going through, man. Because it ain't always gonna work out like we want it to. We want people to get where they want to go. Even though it's hard to pray for some people, man, we need to find forgiveness. It's hard as a motherfucker. But listen, suicide 101 defense. All right. Some know what that means. Some don't. But listen, man. Think about it, Huggy Bear, before you do something stupid. All right. Because you might take a lot of people out with you. You might not want to do that, all right? You might take yourself out for the wrong reason. You might not want to do that. If you're feeling a lot of pressure, you're feeling cornered, a lot of fucked up shit surrounding you, and you don't feel like anybody's listening, there are people that will. Call the fucking number, call Walmart and tell a fucking joke. I don't know, man, but call me. I might say fuck you, but you know what? It'd be from the heart. Anyways, check this out, okay. You know what I mean? Let there be light, sound, system. So, anyways, you know what I mean? It's about seeing the light, opening your eyes, and waking up, all right? Whatever you got to do, I could be wrong, but fuck it. It's called Let the Light Shine In, all right? So let's see if I can get this one. Another day to experience your nonsense. Let's make some sense out of this together. Who started this and who's going to finish it? Your accusations will be retorted. Lead the pack. And also, to back up a little bit, it's about a gravesite, possibly mine, because apparently I do have one. Thanks to somebody who thought they were going to buy me one, but I love you, Mom. Anyway, because she's been there too for me. You know that. Anyways, so your accusations will be retorted. Lead the pack as lines are drawn not to cross. Careful if you do, not to die in the process. It's your game today, it's our game tomorrow. What do you say, kids? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You played that part nicely with the emotional sluts. Let the light shine in as darkness surrounds us. Let the light shine in and repeat the reflection. Let the light shine in as they dance all around us. Where is it going as the truth tells a lie now? Top dog has spoken as we see them get naked. Deprive them and smile as the mirrors let the smoke lit. They don't possess many sides, so the glass slippers might miss one. Let the light shine in as darkness surrounds us. Let the light shine in and repeat the reflection. Let the light shine in as they dance all around us. Peace.
Hey, James. Robert Gordon.
Robert Gordon.
We're gonna read from the table. Okay, good. All right. Thank you, Tommy. Sure. With an eye.
So I'm going to read two things: a short poem and a story, which could be a novel in one page. And what I would like you to do, anybody who's interested, is figure out which one's from experience and which one is exactly not. The first one is called Saint Antoine. In his name they allow, and we eat anyhow. Save the cold out in the cold. At least there was no rain. And the man who fainted before he was allowed in did not say, having no voice, Te adoro, Anton. Yeah, that's the book. It's called Saint Antoine. And this is the thing which, it's a one-page short story or whatever that I realized could be a novel. And the title page is The Day She Bought the Ring, and the title of the story is The Day She Bought the Ring. Stefan saw Susan at the window, and as if for the very first time, he saw her in profile. "You have a fine face," he said simply. She raised her nose proudly and said in a quiet voice out the window into the garden, "You never noticed before." Stepan always knew when Susan had something on her mind. Although from the expression, always passive, silent, no one else would have known this. Yet, even to him, Stepan, whom she had known for how long now, she revealed nothing to her of herself. He just knew. It was, perhaps, a sense of timing he had developed regarding his friends. He knew always when those he knew were holding something within. "What is it?" he ventured to ask, although he knew she would not so much as respond a word to the question. "Do you want to go for a walk?" Susan asked him, turning her face in his direction. That face, as though responding to his compliment, she smiled now. "I would like to take a walk to the mall," he said. "I always find some little thing there I might need." There was a... She said nothing, but rose lightly and gracefully from the chair by the window, placed her cap, a little affair with a small peak, just on the top of her lovely head, took his hand and led him out the door. When they had gotten as far as the library, which was an important place along the way for both of them loved to read, Susan finally spoke. "You haven't shown me the book about which you were speaking. The library is open. You can show me now." He led her now to the poetry section where he lifted out a copy of a small volume from the neatly arranged shelf. "Rilke," he showed her. "Of course you haven't counted the name, I'm sure. Doing no elegies. 10 of them. He transcends the fact of acknowledged beauty and the pain and difficulty of it in this book." Susan took the book from his hand and they sat down at the table near the shelves. He knew she was thinking now that to find beauty painful, difficult, was somehow childish, amusing as would be so many of a child's findings in the world. Did he enjoy being discovered a child once again in her wise estimation? He enjoyed whatever Susan might think of him, because she was very wise, and yet because he enjoyed being thought of by her, whatever she may be thinking. He placed his palm over the pale back of her fine hand. "Take it." He tightened his grip a bit, and she followed him. In the mall, she let him take the lead. He touched each little thing that delighted him. He turned over a tiger and found a key, turned it and watched it jump on the mall floor. He did a fancy twist with a yo-yo, danced with a hula hoop. Finally, she stopped and seemed to see something not far beyond, which for some reason was of interest to her. Susan picked up a nearby toy and closely showed it to him, smiling. Although her attention, he knew, was elsewhere. She picked up and showed things until he realized they were moving towards a certain booth. There she stopped finally. On display were various jewels. She took one up directly, clearly having chosen it at another time. Her hands near his drifted over. She took his hand. With his hand, she turned his face aside and looked at him in profile. Then she slid a ring onto his fourth finger, his left hand. "Now you must pick one out for me," she let him know. In her room, she let fall her dress and stood nude in front of him, took his face in her hands, touching the palms to each profile. "Today we have known each other for 2 years," she told him. "It's time."
Nice.
I'll give you the answer. Saint Antoine is from Saint.
All right.
Saint Antoine?
So next is you.
Isn't it me? Yeah.
Free radical.
Free radical, so-called. All right, let me get up here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, Alan Harris. He's a nice guy. Don't go home without him.
He
has forgiven me so many times. All right, am I good? Am I good? Am I happy?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. She says, no. Stop, Paul. All right.
There's a method to my madness.
There is a method to your madness.
Yeah. Or maybe just madness to my method.
Okay. All right. So, sometimes the news is inspiring, you know? Anyway, I'll read this, and then there's one of these others that I will select at random to clean the palette, as it were. And there's a term out there called the Forever Wars, and this poem is about that. The Forever Wars, that's what they call Iraq, Afghanistan, and the other parts of the global war on terror. You remember that? Yeah. Well, to that list, we must now add Vietnam, as we're being reminded yet again of its infamy, shame, disgrace, horror, malice, illogic, and profound immorality. I remember the poorly focused video of choppers hovering over the American embassy in Saigon as huddled masses scrambled to board, and some few who failed to hang on. Those same choppers were dumped into the sea off the waiting aircraft carriers because of the swift collapse of the South Vietnamese government, which we'd abandoned to our enemies because we wouldn't write a $250 million check. Yet this most recent abuse is just another bowl full of blood proffered to the servile base of the red meat party, groveling at the stinking feet of the Cheeto-faced shit-gibbon squatting his pimply ass on a White House John. As noted fascist Stephen Miller eggs on budget hawks who huff and puff about VA costs, but not at all about trillion-dollar bailouts done several times over by our vet-loving Congress. And it is disheartening that a nation which does not care for its veterans has a successful business model based on making so many new ones. Thus, it seems cruelty must be the point, as Beltway denizens reopen deep wounds and Vietnam vets take it in the teeth again. Yes, Agent Orange is back in the news cycle, as is Mike Enzi, a Republican senator who killed a bill that would have lent assistance to the unknowing victims of those very profitable barrels of Agent Orange. Yes, the deleterious effects of that dioxin on everyone in the Vietnam theater of operations, friend and foe alike in their many millions, their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, in a multi-generational tale of suffering, what with cancers, psychological and neurological disorders, birth defects, and all that. Yes, thanks to Mike and Stephen, being considerate is off the table. And then there's Peter O'Rourke, a self-confessed do-nothing who, along with the dump, want to deport the boat people who had fought for us, with us, and faced death, or worse, had they stayed. They fled our war with us, and we rescued them. This is so outrageous, so extreme, there are no words, even for me. There is nothing apt, apropos, nothing, after all, what can words say better than tears of those who suffer at the hands of a government which cares more for cash than for the health and well-being of its allies or its own veterans and their families. Last, while I have said that such idiocy knows no bounds, I certainly hope someday to be proven wrong. Until then, Vietnam, one of our forever wars. As I said, I would let's take us to the airy fields of joy. Now, people know Kabir. I don't know how many people know Kabir, but this poem is based on things that he did, wrote, or his perspective. It's titled From Kabir to Kabir and Everything in Between. Oh, my friends, my heart is on fire with a happiness so very, very great. It's each and every fiber is vibrant, gloriously radiant, dazzling, and its light buoyed by such joy as is never found by possessions of those common treasures, wants, or passions. The precious heart is never beguiled by such trinkets, nor can its love be overthrown. It knows what all beggars do. If you keep your life in your own hands, then wherever you go, even in common attire with simple shoes, you'll have your arts to proffer, and so you will please exceedingly well those whom you find along the way. And in doing so, also find your estate in being yourself wherever, whenever. And just as simple folk do, it leaves life to being. It knows that the meaning of life comes from giving life meaning, as they say, whereby one may then live with easy grace from moment to eternity. We all know the body becomes dust, and so all vanity is at best temporal. Why then wish for, hope for, fear of what was, what may yet be? Dwell in the vast, intimate immediacy of its love, and so be contented with yourself as you are, as it is. One thing more, as contented as you may be in this manner, even then still listen, as if a saintly chorale were about to sound at any moment. And know you will meet the divine at any moment. Thank you.
All right, and now almost Ed my cue, then the curse. Ed, it's Ed, then the curse of writer. Ed, forgot about that. We made an insertion point. Ed my cue. Ed my cue. Who knows whereof he speaks? Yeah, I know. This is Ed my cue, everybody. Get a little closer, that's all. Yeah.
The tapestry I wove, and I now sink back into, weaving into the testimony of my writing life these odd inclusions in vitamin M being for minus, that end up in the tapestry you sink back into, and like a Penelope, you have spent all of your lifetime weaving and unweaving as you wait for the return of some lord called Ulysses. And yes, I know it looks odd, yet really it's simply putting the words together that made it seem that there were diamonds in the dark valleys of broken glass, when the milky, luminous moonstone abalone moons make their way into the deep and dark alley lanes as you sleep. But by now, so many movements, so-called isms in my writing life, have blown in through the open windows of my word kitchen, that the kitten in my mind's corner, in the basket under the old gas stove, is bouncing from surrealisms to symbolism, and the post-avant-garde's a canker, even a cantankerous jungle jingler with yens for villanelles and rhymes, rondos, haikus, and with deep koans inside. Once I'd reverie, memorizing many sacred books from the Quran, the Bible, Old and New, plus the Book of the Dead, the Kalevala, and the I Ching, that once seemed a sacred book during the hippie days in San Francisco, in that arc on Haight and Masonic streets. It has all come to seem like hitting speed bumps that smell of pheromone breakdowns, leaving paw prints on parchment. And this finally is the tapestry I wove, and I now sink back into. Thank you.
Thanks, the mighty Ed Matthew. And the cursive writer coming forth. And David. David Harold tonight. Cursive writer. Just a minor note, if the feature individuals who are scheduled to be here aren't, we will, after this point, we will take a break. I will try to see if I can get all of them. If not, then we will proceed apace.
Are any of the feature people here?
No, they would recognize, they already are. And Dudemon's coming up, yes?
Washed out of, oh, all right.
Okay, so we got
Triolet.
Triolet.
Oh my God, it's a trio. We're gonna do Uso weights.
Let's move you a little bit. We're gonna move this just so that Dudamon has a little room.
Yeah.
A little room, all right.
A little room.
There, we got all three of you in this
David, you
frame.
need to move.
Hey, he doesn't care about being on the film.
Not on my shoe. Not on my shoe, dude.
Why not?
I just cleaned them.
Really? They look pretty good.
All right. First one's gonna be Uso
We don't have
weights.
David in it.
Step forward, David.
Forward.
Step forward.
I'm not gonna be in the
Touch me.
picture, don't worry about it.
Touch
I
me.
need to watch his stuff.
Yeah, he's gotta look.
He has to watch. Okay, all right, then we'll just do what we do.
Everybody wants to
Get with my shit. All right, Uso weights. Uso weights has all the time in the world. The ancient rich. Uso waits, waiting for the blood quantum runs its course, stealing remains of native nations, where the people must prove who they are by their blood. As governments lust, thinking of all that tax money, resources. In the meantime, more killed, sterilized. Less natives there are, the sooner USA takes possession. I'm sure USA citizens agree. I see no protest from us. That means you. We are unaware of the existence of nations within USA's empire. In USA we wake at many wakes, where we will not be woke. Politicians of gods of many names, faces. These politicians, gods of many names, faces, I seeing our every move. Homo sapiens, some call humans, are being bad. Needs watching. Wonder what made us so crazy? Our existence confuses us, so we make up gods. Rules to rule us. You're always a little paranoid, thinking they're coming for you for what's been done to them, stealing everything, including identity. Fear where we delete humanity, each other. You're a little unsettled, even when you don't admit it. When we say we are our brother's keeper, does that mean we should enslave, giving prisons as new homes? We talk about illegal. What makes us legal after our genocide against the red, black brothers, sisters, our relatives? Yellow brothers, sisters, never to be trusted. The yellow peril. They'll be coming for your women, men. Treat them as something other than human. Homo sapiens kill human beings. In USA, if there are red, black, brown people you need killed, declared war against, we're your empire. We'll even kill each other if there's something to be gained. Say you love. Say you love. I say you love your brothers and sisters, children. Say you do. Meanwhile, you trash them, spilling what's been told, making assumptions where none can be made. Yes, we are the politician gods of many names, faces of many names, faces.
Can I take a photograph of the three of you? Would you mind? Thank you.
Long time. Where was I? Oh. Let's just close your eyes. See what's going on behind those lids. Will trust be easier to see? Beauty, ugliness the same? Will you be blind as when your eyes are open? Will you believe images you see? Will you remain bonded to the floor, unable to take steps, blinded by hooded eyes? Do fears vanish if you can't see life's trauma, splendor? Guessing it's about the same. We don't see by choice or neglect. It's seen, unseen, remembered, forgotten. Unsettling this meddling where there are those who are gelded, desexed, so there are no problems. Inactive, docile. Let's just pretend nothing's happening. The only thing happening is you. No room for anyone else. Like that flat earthers, you believe you're on the swill, believe on the swill that the universe revolves around you. Your beliefs, person. Take my hand. We are naked. Open those eyes. Let's dance for real. Hold on. Separate. We explore what others deplore. Eyes to eyes explore others' minds, looking into the eyes to see the ethereal for real. Let's just... Oh, look out, look out. And thank you, Dudamon.
Dudamon, David Ehrenreich. And can you, one of you plug the microphone back,
Oh, plug that thing back.
the plug came out or something.
That's good.
That's what happened the
That's
last
okay.
piece. There we go.
Richard
That's it.
projected.
Thanks for letting me do
Yeah, all right, so I'm just gonna let people know that we're gonna do something different. I'll make a quick announcement. Take care of it.
See, and if I go like this, you don't have to adjust anything. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the features of the evening coming from Santa Cruz could have run into difficulty in the traffic realms. So they did have the number for this place. I made sure they had that. And as of about 5 or 6 days ago, it seemed like it was on. So I'm suspecting that something untoward has happened. Hopefully everything is fine. But we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back. I want one small announcement. The anthology of Sacred Grounds poets that we have been working on since like October, I have ordered a copy, a print copy, so we will find out what it really truly looks like. And if it's fine, then we'll be taking orders for advanced copies and do something special here in due course. Thank you so much. We're on break. 5 minutes-ish.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Well, maybe a little more. Why?
I was going to go finish my
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have to go to the bathroom first.
Yeah, go ahead. Everything will be fine.
Attribution sheet?
Oh yeah, attribution.
Signed up. Attribution. I got to get signed up. Oh, you did? Thank you. I've always
Oh, and tell Wendy she has to put stuff on there.
Wendy?
Well, she's not. She's using the restroom right now.
Did Wendy already read?
Yeah, she did, but she was the keynote. She's going to come back.
Oh, and she has
So I'll let her know, and then you put your stuff on there, David. And then give it to Hal, because Hal's going to do something, I'm sure.
Is this a biography?
Up for grabs.
Or is this an anthology of his?
I've seen. I listen to the group and then I was going to try to find
Oh, was it good? Okay, yeah, as soon as I get on my computer, I'll
That was a great thing that Marcus did. Remember, he had the cameras and he would have two, and he would be pulling.
Thank you so much.
One way, he said, pulling another way. Amazing. Yeah. What's the name of the piece? Thanks for that.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, no, I have this there.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of like, oh my God. I was even like this last week.
Yeah, I think
And it was
that's
really,
great.
yeah, we just sat around and
But,
community center, where it is, it's right near Balboa on 30th.
I mean,
It used to be a great school years ago. It's called the neighborhood center. And they got
But I'll never forgive him for having me.
That was the sign.
Was that a sign?
Yeah, by Universal.
Oh, God. It's just awful. It's a great movie. Look at John. What's the name of that movie? Damn, I forgot the name of the movie.
Touch of.
Touch of.
Oh, what about the Orson Welles film? As a Mexican. Very good. Very unbelievable Mexican.
Yes, I will send you to your email.
yeah.
Especially shiny.
Yeah, so somehow related to civil liberties. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Here in the
My name is
Touch of.
and I put together a
You have not read anything that I don't like.
and I'm putting out one,
Keep working on it, keep working on it.
and my original thought had been, you know, we have all benefited from the civil rights movement. But how often do we acknowledge?
Did you read it first?
Oh,
There he is, the Transmega guy.
You know, we benefit from the movement.
Oh, yeah. I like John.
Were you ready to make
John.
This is a long thing to be in my.
I started going in 1988.
But I even. But it used to just be.
I know.
Like I said, she died. Anyway, I've been doing it 5 years. I was just using that thing.
I gotta figure out. And then
I haven't even started fucking playing yet.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh.
Well, but you know, I gave a little bit of the half hour. And that was definitely these fans. Well, there's some nice stuff. So, well, I'm not
Because he's from Washington Falls. How are you?
It's like I say, well, say hi. Then she said, I have
You?
Well, she got it here.
Please, please.
I can't back.
Yeah, I went through most of your, I haven't
Yeah, well, don't worry about it. Everybody's busy.
Very weird.
so-
No, I just don't, I'm honored, no one doesn't really ask me to do the work. And, you know, especially your work, which I honor. Some stuff I like more than others. And some stuff I can tell was a previous incarnation.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I can a lot of stuff this time. I just tried. I mean, grocery stuff together.
Some of it's relevant.
I guess Eric is.
Very relevant. Yeah, attribution sheet. Excuse me, just a second. You need to put your attribution down. In red?
Oh, that's right.
You said that career.
And so you came up and Bill Mercer. And so, but so when sorry, because he heard me. He walked in, he worked Bob, but I said, sure. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll still know that one.
I really enjoy it. Total lack of preparation.
And it still came off.
Yeah, I like the smear.
I'm sorry.
Have to decide who gets that or how to split that. What I've done is.
I'm gonna worry about it.
These are all out by my house.
So they have to ship it.
Jump. No, outside. Red plastic. Size 6.
I think this may
I found some of them thrown in the bay.
The one that was up here reading. All right, thanks. Hey, Wendy, you know what I realized?
What did you realize?
I'm gonna start calling you Danny, is that alright? Can I do that? You know how they put together names like Brandon, Angelina, Jared, and Ivanka.
I was gonna read that one. I was gonna read that. I had
You're being a little.
I like it.
I'm just saying.
I used to be,
Dandy.
So I'm going to then what I usually do is.
Back when I was little.
Because
Because of Wendy.
Oh, Wendy.
You know, something.
When you were sick,
Yeah, Santa Cruz is a little thing.
kind of a punk rock, you know? So you're not here.
That's what everybody said.
We'll be coming back here in just about a minute or two, just so you know, the mic is hot.
How you doing over there? Oh, I have a question for you.
Me?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, this is apropos of puzzle pieces which could fit together, you being one. Okay, so you know Sally Love Saunders. Sally Love Saunders, you know this person.
Sally Love Saunders.
Yes.
Sounds really
Older
super.
woman, heavy set.
Okay.
When she comes here, sometimes she does her birthday parties here.
Okay.
Okay, you're drawing a blank.
Yeah,
All right.
I know the name, but anyway, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, she was talking with Wendy about various things, and when I was overhearing their conversation, I thought, you know, you're a person who drives cars, and she's a person who sometimes wants to hire someone to drive her point A to point B, and I maybe should consider like having you to connect someone to see if there's any way that what you do and what she wants matches in any way. I don't know.
She just needs to be driven places.
Yeah, well, sometimes she comes here.
Okay.
And sometimes it's like, you know,
Where does she live?
Pine and some golf or some kind of thing downtownish or something.
Do you see her often? Or?
I have her email and something.
All right, I mean, I give you my card and you give it to her. Or, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm unfortunately the way my job works now, I'm out of town a lot. I'm out in the East Bay and the South Bay. I mean, she's always welcome to call me. I mean, if
Well, yeah,
I'm able
but to arrange, like, she would have to arrange something ahead of time, not just call on the fly.
Yeah.
And that's what she would probably do because she, you know, they might have an appointment or want to come here.
Yeah,
or
see,
something.
that's an issue. She's not in a wheelchair.
No.
Okay, no. That's an issue because, like I said, I'm out of town a lot.
Yeah.
We have my company has an accountant, an insurance company, and they send us
Oh, so
wheelchair
they
vans
schedule
out.
you.
Yeah.
And so you might not know on Tuesday that Thursday you have 3 jobs.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So
okay.
That's the issue because I'm not like a regular camper. I'm literally out there. Today was in San Jose. And
Checking out all of this.
The fabulous
Good.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got to know the East Bay and the South Bay really well.
Probably better than you really want. But it's working out. It looks like you're happy. Like,
Making a shitload of money, yeah.
that's good. That's good.
It's kind of frustrating, a little frustrating, but otherwise, no, it's making a lot of money.
Yeah. Avoid 880.
There's no way to avoid 880.
I know.
Not in my job. I'm on 880. I'm there. I'm on 880 more than I'm in my own apartment.
I know that.
It can be a pain in the ass.
There's one time, see, I hadn't driven from San Francisco to Fremont in maybe 15 years on a weekday.
I don't know.
And so my friend is in Fremont. I go to see him.
Oh yeah, you're second.
We're going to get together at 3, and I figured, you know, I'm just going to bust out of here. It's 11:30.
You're right after Gabriel.
I didn't get there till like 4:30.
Great.
Okay. Take the bait.
Yeah, we have a good lineup.
No,
You,
well,
Alan, we
I
got
decided
Al,
not to do that. I decided, well,
Antoinette,
I went to the Dunbar.
Wendy's
because I
back,
figured maybe
David.
that would be better. It was just like, and 101 was like a parking lot, the bridge is like a parking lot, and the Nimitz Historical is like a parking lot.
Yeah. There's no way to escape it.
Yeah, it's just
That's
like,
really what makes
you know, I
this
thought,
work really well.
maybe I'd bust over to 280 and go down to San Jose and curve.
I like to take the San Mateo Bridge. It's backed up usually in the afternoon. If you're going, like, you take the 101 down to San Mateo Bridge, and then it's usually backed up for a little while. But if you're not intimidated by the traffic, you just stick with it. Eventually, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And it's a more pleasant ride too.
Yeah, I like that bridge.
So I like to do that a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, that was, I will, oh, give me your card.
Yeah.
Again. And then I will let her know and tell her, essentially you get things scheduled, so it's not like.
She's always welcome to call me.
Yeah.
And if I'm available, I'm in the city, I'll be glad to come and get her.
Okay.
And any member of the poetry community rides for free in my town.
Well, thank you so much. I'll let, well, she will pay. She's good at that.
I know that name.
I kind of like every set, wears hats, you know, flowery dresses. Yeah.
I'm sure when I see her, I'll know.
Yeah, as soon as you go, oh yeah, I know who you are. I didn't damn do this to me.
I know that dude.
All right. All right, let me get this going here.
Yeah, I like John. I like this one.
Well, hold on.
My stenographer said, are you full?
No, we're not full. All right, so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And if you want to know about that big local story, Revis Knievis will do the jumping tomorrow, weather and authorities permitting. Thank you. The Comet has done the digging. And now Greg Pond is going to come up here. We've switched it up a little bit since the features as scheduled have not arrived, and nor have they provided information that I can understand, unless it's on the psychic realm and there's a delay in the field. Greg Pond is going to come up here and give us a nice reading, and then we'll go back to the open mic. So give Greg Pond a nice one of the best readers I've ever seen in my entire life as a human being.
Let me make sure this is good for you. Come on up here, Greg. Come on, keep the applause going. What's wrong with you people out there? All right, Greg Pond, of fame and note, one of those San Francisco poets.
Sit down. Thank you.
Is that Greg Pond up there?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay. This first one is from one of my new books. I have two new books. They're twins. They're 4 a.m. dark and 4 a.m. light.
Oh.
Twins.
This is guys shooting dice. Guys shooting dice.
Sorry about that.
The guys at the corner shoot dice against the wall. Sometimes shoot at each other, but don't shoot basketballs like they did when they were younger, when they all had the hunger to be just like Mike. Before their hoop dreams faded into lives of petty crime. Never made the college grade, took their eyes right off the prize. Too easily accepted as fact, they would never become the men they hoped they'd be back then. Now, got no steady job, only baby mama drama. Thought their lot would improve since the election of Obama, but there hasn't been much change. The day after tomorrow, just like today, trapped in a ghetto prison, no electric fence, just disillusionment. They'd leave this crap behind, start over in some other place, but they don't know where to go, even if they knew how to escape. The guys at the corner shoot the breeze instead of ball. Dreams of 7-figure salaries reduced to nights of dice against the wall. Unemployed over 3 years, though somehow always sporting the latest gear, while drinking a beer and rocking some new Air Jordans. Thinking they're solving future's riddle, but blinded by the glitter of fool's gold that shines nightly around the corner from the corner liquor store. Guys shooting dice up against the wall. If they ever get the chance to leave, would they stay, flee, or crawl? Maybe they know where they're going. Maybe they're going nowhere at all.
Yeah.
The man I've yet to meet. I continue to seek the hand of a man I've yet to meet. Maybe someday waiting down a country lane, some evening up the street. He walks somewhere, mere steps from here, but miles away from me. The man I seek listens for rhythms lost in the spaces between. Has me wishing he'd emerge transcendentally from my meditation dreams.
Hope the man I'll meet will hold my heart so close that there'll be no doubt or reservation about who he cares for most. I seek the kiss of a man that fits the description of the kind of guy I'd place high on my lover list. Some kind stranger who might suddenly appear out of thin air, someone who I could share some snuggles with. But since life is intertwined with strings and twists, and we're not always sure how things may go, it just could be that the man I've yet to meet is someone I already know.
Yeah.
All right, this one takes a little stretch. It's entitled "A Racist Ponders Reparations." All they ever do is complain and fuss about stuff from many years ago. How we made them ride the back of the bus, though we don't make them do that no more. The days of slavery have long since faded, so why are they demanding compensation? Only takes one crazy jerk to shoot up a church for them to say all white folks spew hate. They're trying to make us feel bad about displaying our Confederate flag proudly on our state license plates. If Fox News reports spades are running wild, then I'll keep my cards close to my vest. Who gives a good goddamn about them being free at last, as long as they accept being second best? Now I hear they're requesting reparations to get what they feel they deserve. Well, if they think they'll get a penny from me, a single crumb, let alone an apology, they got some hell of a nerve. What am I doing?
Yeah, you got fun. You got another 5. Easy.
Phoenix. I am Phoenix, rising from smoke and smoldering ashes, a soul survivor. The flames are lapping after me, but I truly believe if I keep ascending, this fire will never reach this bird on the wire, unless I stop to breathe. So I continue to walk a tightrope towards the sun, balanced on wings, not strings. Towards the sun, balanced on wings, held by strings, not wax, so that mine won't melt like Icarus, and my arms won't flap in futility while my feathers float to sea. I'll fly me to the moon and hitch a ride on heaven's breeze. Catch a current to carry me home if I happen to tire so I can rest my soul. Gonna fly so high that I won't get singed by the fire below or the inferno within. As the smoke climbs higher above the embers of anger, guilt, and rejection, see me soar above the pyre towards enlightenment and redemption. No longer a bird perched on a wire, but one who hovers far above the atmosphere where the moon and sun are lovers. I've been redirected, resurrected, reconnected, and inspired. Rising in the midst of this, I am Phoenix, soul survivor.
Wow.
One more. Thank you so much. One more. This one is not in either of those books. It's entitled Worker's Dilemma. Worker's Dilemma. Hand in hand, it's them against we. Collectively, it is up to us, and together we need to rise and take a stand. So I assume responsibility for the woman or man who works next to me. When I have my brother's back, and I've got my sister's support, then together we can band to force the boss's hand to hold out for what we want. We've never been paid what we deserve to make. The powers that be got us toiling away for little or nothing in a code violation factory, or a mouse-sized cubicle maze. When we follow all orders and stay in our dutiful place, we may get a good review, maybe a penny or two more in pay. But if we have the nerve to complain, request a decent raise, an environmental upgrade, or don't react fast enough to some stupid order they gave, we'll get written up in a minute as they crack that retaliatory whip. And if we should try to push the issue, then our last check would be the pink slip. If we decide to organize and feel a need to go on strike, they might just ease us off to the side, then hire the next woman or guy willing to eschew any union ties. Then soon you'll be out of work and headed for the unemployment line. So what do? If you're caught between what you feel is right, which bill gets paid tonight, and if the kid, which bill gets paid this month, and if the kids get fed tonight? Having to look one's family in their hungry eyes can make anyone think twice about carrying a picket or going out on strike. So very hard to play the political card when you're down to your last dime. It's said the difference between a moment and a movement is in the willingness to sacrifice. And we will only succeed if we're willing to fight the fight. And we can only win when we're ready to unite. But how much do you win or lose if you choose or refuse to cross the company line?
Yeah. We have Buford Bunton coming up now, and I just wanted to say that I did something special with Greg because since the features didn't show and he was the mini, I moved him up and put him there and said, "Can you do it?" He goes, "Oh, sure." And he did it. So I'll give Buford a nice little respectful round as he's here, and then we'll move on to other things and take care of these snags, as we like to say.
This is called The Giants Screw Up. Larry Bayer, the erstwhile president of the San Francisco Giants, battered his wife, so he's no longer the president. Cameron Maybin, a journeyman outfielder new to the Giants, was booked and released for drunken driving. He was previously signed by the Giants to be a veteran presence. Buster Posey, a man who had a bad year last year. The only thing that he did wrong because he's cleaner than clean. But he didn't. But he's been a most valuable player before, and he didn't look like that last year, nor did anyone else. Though he is not known for being notorious, like the owner and the new veteran, Madison Bumgarner, the veteran pitcher and World Series hero both in hitting and in pitching in 2014, got hurt twice in the last few years. There are other heroes and potential heroes on this team, though, like second baseman Joe Panic, although he had kind of a lousy year too. Johnny Cueto's windmill-like pitcher's delivery got a lot of people out and used to drive people into the ground practically swinging at the ball. Not anymore. Chris Stratton, this is my favorite because Chris Stratton pitched a no-hitter a couple of years ago. Please don't talk while I'm talking. Thank you. I do not like that. Yeah, I don't, man, just be quiet. Chris Stratton pitched a no-hitter a couple of years ago and then had a couple of bad years. But he did better toward the end of last season.
He's talking on the mic. We can hear you. It's his. He needs to be heard. All right, go on.
I'll stop as soon as I understand.
Jeff Samardzija, new pitcher who's been with the team for a little while. did a little bit better toward the end of the year also, but he had a rotten year mostly last year too. Brandon Belt, the big first baseman, failed a bit last year and looks to do better next year. That's what they always say about this thing, so I thought I'd add one of them in, just to sound like a sports writer, you know. Because some people don't give a damn that the Giants had a couple of second to last and last place years. Some just have blank faces about these sad years. They aren't like me. As I go to the free not hold games behind the right field fence, which for about 75 of the 81 home games last year.
Wow.
Blame it on my baseball crazy grandfather.
Let's give everybody in. Hey, what about the other Brandon? Oh.
And now we got Alan Harris.
Alan Harris! If you haven't heard Alan Harris, you're about to hear Alan Harris.
Yeah. Take it off, bro. Come on. Roll up
to the big sleeve there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Bring on the sweat.
It's got to be here.
Yeah, you're good. You're perfect. Look at that face. Oh my God. Perfect.
I got the one fork, the one spoon, the one knife, the one dish, the one bowl, the one glass, the one mug, the one pot, the one pan, the one chair, the one table, the one mirror, the one lamp, the one coat, the one shoe. I got one of everything. That's all I need, just one of everything. That's all anyone needs. If everyone could be satisfied with just one of everything, then we wouldn't have the tragically ridiculous imbalance of one person living in a mansion with 1,500 rooms, most of which are never even occupied, while another person doesn't even have one room to live in. Is that really the way that it's supposed to be? Is that really the way that God planned it? If so, terrible plan, God. Really awful. Couldn't be worse. Start again. Worldwide minimalism. Worldwide collectivism. Worldwide socialism. First, you gather up all the material goods in the world and you divide them up evenly among, every person in the world. Then you give everyone an apartment that provides them with just enough room to be comfortable. So, for example, if you're somewhat obese, then you would be, you would get a bigger place than someone who is thinner. And if you lose weight, then you would be moved into a smaller apartment. And if your weight fluctuates too much, well, that would suggest a problem that you should probably get looked at. Maybe you have an eating disorder, in which case you would probably be sent off to some sort of camp where that problem would be dealt with. This is starting to sound a bit fascistic, isn't it? Maybe we should forget about that part and talk instead about how you really, really wealthy people think that this is going to impact you negatively. Well, you have a right to think that, because this is going to fuck you up big time. You're going to go from living it up in a 1,500-room mansion to barely existing in a tiny bachelor apartment in a building that probably won't even have an elevator. But don't worry. While you'll be having to make do with a lot less, compensation will come in the form of the knowledge that there's a little girl somewhere who's going to go from living on the street without enough to eat to having a permanent roof over her head and a refrigerator stocked with healthy food. I mean, come on. How great will that be? I mean, aren't you going to get an enormous amount of satisfaction out of that? Well, just give it a try. Look, this is going to happen whether you want it to or not, so you might as well just make the best of it. And don't give us any shit! You don't want to end up in one of those camps where they send troublemakers, do you? Crap, this is starting to sound fascistic again, isn't it? Damn, this is hard. Thank you. Is that a gun? mugging me? Is this a mugging? Okay, I've heard of this. You want all my money, right? Do you take checks? No, of course you don't take checks. I'm sorry, I'm new at this. I've never been mugged before. I'm a crime victim virgin. What's that? Oh, you're sorry? You're only mugging me because you're on drugs? You need money to buy drugs and that's your excuse for mugging me? Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm on drugs too. In fact, I'm stoned and drunk right now. In fact, if I wasn't so stoned and drunk right now, I could have just opened the front door of my apartment building and gotten inside before you even had a chance to mug me. The only reason that you're even getting the chance to mug me is because I'm so stoned and drunk right now. In fact, if I wasn't so stoned and drunk right now, I might have just reached out with my left hand and grabbed your gun while using my right hand to push you down the stairs, and then you would be lying in a crumpled heap at the bottom of the stairs while I went inside and called the police, who would come and scoop you up and take you away as the media descended upon my street, wanting to learn the story of the citizen who refused to be a victim and who lived out the fantasy of anyone who has ever been violated by a street thug. I would attain the stature of a national figure, a symbol of all that is right in Donald Trump's America. Books would be written about me. TV movies would be made about me. And bumper stickers would have phrases like, "Don't harass Alan Harris," adorning the bumpers of cars. But because I'm stoned and drunk right now, none of that's going to happen. So, spare me your lame excuses. Just take my money and my dignity and my innocence and my sense of security and my sense of well-being and my belief in the basic goodness of all people and in a just and balanced universe, and fuck off. Besides, we both know that drugs are not an excuse. They're a symptom. Class warfare, institutional racism, a society plagued by rampant materialism, a media that lies, and corruption eating away at every level of our government have conspired to force you to mug me. America stole my $18, not you. But, hey, listen, thanks for listening, Mr. Mugger, and have a good night. Thank you.
Well, Robin, footprints are over there. And Antoinette, you're up next. Okay. The Mighty Hal Robbins.
Mighty. On the theme of paint, I'll say these lines from the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. We were the first that ever burst into that silent sea. Down dropped the breeze, the sails dropped down. 'Twas sad as sad could be, and we did speak only to break the silence of the sea. All in a hot and copper sky, the bloody sun at noon, right up above the mast did stand, no bigger than the moon. Day after day we stuck, nor breath nor motion, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. The very deep did rot. Ah, Christ, that this should ever be. Yea, slimy things did crawl with legs upon the slimy sea. About, in reel and rout, the death fires danced at night. The water like a witch's oils burned green and blue and white, and some in dreams assured were of the spirit that plagued us so. 9 fathom deep he had followed us from the land of mist and snow, and every tongue through utter drought was withered to the root. We could not speak. It was as if we had been choked with soot. Ah, well a day, what evil looks had I from old and young, instead of the cross, the albatross about my neck was hung. Well, I have a moment left, I'm told, and so here's a familiar lyric of cowboy poetry. I ride an old paint, I lead an old Dan. I'm gone to Montana for to throw the Julian. There's feed in the coolies, there's water in the draw. Their tails is all matted, their backs is all raw. Ride round, little dogies, ride round 'em slow, for fiery and snuffy is rarin' to go. Oh, when I die, take my saddle from the wall, and put it on my pony, lead him out of his stall, tie my bones to his back, turn our faces to the west, and we'll ride the lone prairie that we love the best. Ride round, little dogies, ride round 'em slow, for fiery and snuffy is rarin' to go.
Nicely done. Riding the whole paint, neat little Dan. Here it is. There you go. A great song. All right, Antoinette. Yeah, Antoinette, you're a nice round. Then we got Wendy, David, Vincent, Karen, Nicole, and Nudemon. Just so we know.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Got 4 poems here. Some are new, some are old. They rarely have titles. Autonomy of self, solitary, strong. She is a dancer, my incredible girl. Love waits on welcome. New mother going to give her son better life than I gave her. Stretched limbs listen to KPFA, American Roots, Rattlesnake Corner. Melancholy lunar insight runs across street, downhill into black night. Streetcar music goes by, filled with new love, old love, real love, autocorrect love, no question love. We climb sunny hillside, brush my cheek to the wind. God walks here too. Dry berry vines grow out of rocks and sandy soil, 1 foot before another, wondering, waiting on your love. And that was like love 1, this is love 2, okay? So fearlessly in love I spend this day, remembering to go forth, take this word as your own, piddle the compost of soul's disparity, position this, our entire existence spent in view of scarcity, depression, scarcity, separation, death, sleep merged with cognizance, tethered in opposite realms, we practice dying daily.
I like that one.
Oh, stand in wispy white night dress, strong calves bend down, lift black Labrador, they sit together to tame wolf. Zen master stamps free will, nonviolent protest, monks wearing brown sit on stage, no difference, no separation. Like blank sheet of paper where front and back encompass one another, unseen parts create more. Light fills night sky, sorrow sits inside joy. Wolf's breath sucks in cold white particles, swirling exhale to fluffy white angel. Night comes after few vertical hours, January goals our journey holds, together or not, sitting near river's flow. I told her we should have waited, even in wilderness it's better than here, close to God, devotion endures. Creepy roads delve deep under brush, in dark tangles, cast about unaware, we forget to breathe. Until that moment, we trip over our mouth.
Wendy comes back when she was the keynote.
Yeah, the keynote always comes back.
She opened up the show, and now she comes back for another set.
Okay. So I chose this poem for tonight because this happened to me this week.
But before I read my main poem, I'm going to read how I felt after it happened. It's called Pain. Tense, tight, fight with might, mighty tiredness. Stuck, muck, distrusting no fear. Sadness peaks, hurting reeks, yearning, burning, sleepless. Help! Okay, so this is a poem about that. When sleep ends early. When sleep ends early, I lie there, as open and accepting as possible. I want to be in oneness again. I want to return to the coveted rest, the wholeness of mind's hidden imagination, freely seeing all that is and has been and could be, the healing, harmonizing time. Breath flows, and stretching, I turn to find a comfortable way to patiently lie there. I am wanting to slip graciously into the gap, easily and effortlessly, the treasured land of no thought, stories surrendered, not even begun. But this is not to be such a night, with the sleep that ends early. So I make the best of things and wait, as unjudging and accepting as I can. Perhaps the oneness I desire is here somehow. Perhaps it is inside me and all around, and I am not outside of it. Without noticing, a stream of thoughts ripe with stories begin to flow into my world, steadily expanding, rolling from every corner there might be into the once coveted land of no thought. Each story brings another until a fully blossomed tree of thought, each branch decked with other branches, has grown tall and wide. It is hard to escape now, for the tree of thought has wrapped itself around me. Perhaps I'm the one who did the wrapping, but I do not notice respite despite my efforts to lie there as open and accepting as possible, so that I can be in oneness again, so that I can return to the coveted rest, the wholeness of mind's hidden imagination, freely seeing all that is and has been and could be, the healing, harmonizing time, patiently waiting there, so that I can slip graciously into the gap, easily and effortlessly, the treasured land of no thought, stories surrendered, not even begun. But this is not to be such a night, with the sleep that ends early. Thank
And now we have David Erdreich, and then Vincent, Karen, Nicole, and I had to do something.
Do I know you people?
Can I buy back my introduction to you?
Yeah. That'll cost you a lot.
That cost you a lot.
A lot. A couple of acres and a lot.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was reading from the Way of the Sufi by Idris Shah, the Naqshbandi order, and I didn't finish it, so I'm going to finish it, and then I'll go on to my own stuff. Sir Hindi, kicked it right out, I did. Kicked it right out again.
You know, that plug reminds me of something.
Deaf I am. There we go.
There we go, now we're talking.
Sir Hindi, do not talk only of the 4 ways, or of the 72 paths, or of the paths as numerous as the souls of men. Talk instead of the path and the attaining. All is subordinate to that. Masum. Essence, dot, manifests only in understanding, Arif. But it may develop independently of this. These men called dervishes, are not what you think them to be. Think therefore of the real. It is something like what you think it to be. Radoni. You cannot destroy us if you are against us, but you can make things difficult for us even if you think you are helping. John E. Janan. Man can partake of the perpetual. He does not do this by thinking he can think about it. Delavi. We spend a space in a place. Do not put up a sign to mark the place. Take rather of the material which adheres to the place while it is still there. Kandahari. You hear my words. Hear, too, that there are words other than mine. These are not meant for hearing with the physical ear. Because you only see me, you think there is no Sufism apart from me. You are here to learn, not to collect historical information. And finally, John Fishan. You may follow one stream. Realize that it leads to the ocean. Do not mistake the stream for the ocean. Tut, taught, taught. Easily stymied, stumped, or blocked, a working man who's not on the clock, cook, driver, chop off the old block, gardener rounding off pebbles and stones, community gathered while standing alone, turning the compost, flipping the lid, ratty old sneakers, how much am I bid? Cantankerous, grumpy, I grumble and stumble, my poems have B.O., yet forceful, not mumbled. Salamander uncovered, reverence for the newt, meet me on the mesa, it sure is a beaut. Splendiferous, naturally, naturally awe. Splendiferous, naturally, contemplate awe. Plum, pear, and apple all stuck in my craw. Letters a jumble, Sudoku my mess. Perusing the puzzle page, test in a jest. I cannot imagine a soupier stew. Sacred grounds, the locale. I love listening to you. Old man in his sinews still growing taut, assuring integrity cannot be bought. Dystopia. Instantaneous relevance with nothing more to say. Notoriety. Give me cash and I'll be on my way. E-culture flits from bit to bit, tucked in a vestibule where justice knows no mercy and anger is the rule. Self-contained or self-exposed, continuity doesn't exist. This social shell game, shrill rewards, most poised, most pissed, most possessed. Hip, obscure, with catchphrase name, in constant search for elusive fame, the need to reinvent whole cloth, become a zombie or a goth, manipulate the disillusion, end up invisible in conclusion. How much time do I got left?
You have like about 47.39785642 seconds. Approximately, just kind of round it down there a bit to the 10,000.
Thank you.
Leave it there, Frank. On the sax. On the phone. Oh, yeah, I saw it. Vincent. Vincent, I know you're here. And then we got Karen, Nicole, and Dunamon. Sorry, I'll stop that now. I got stuck.
Cool.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for being late. I hate being late. I'm usually painfully early.
Just pay the fine.
I brought gifts.
Thank you. Then you're good. We're perfect.
You were joyously forgiven.
I brought good gifts.
Well, are you Greek?
Yes.
Oh, really? He
Let's
has an answer
see.
for everything. I swear to God, this guy's great.
So recently, I was working with someone mentoring, and he told me he was working with somebody who decided that he was going to make his higher power the ocean. And he was having an issue with that. And I said, why do you have an issue with that? The ocean's an amazing, strong, it takes up most of the earth. So I always say, if you don't want me to write about you, you shouldn't say things to me or sit next to me. But here's what came. So last week I gave you prayer 2. This is prayer 1. This is prayer 2. I gave you prayer 1. This is called Straits and Channels. It's a short one. Many times, no matter what the stark waves of my disease chatters, the serene blue well of hope, faith, and willingness echo claps safe passage, and the mermaid swims through and accompanies me to thousands of fathoms deep near Neptune's utopia. And this is my poem I'm working on this week. It's brand new. It's called Losing Sight, Anxiety's Child. Losing Sight, Anxiety's Child. It sits in the corner, shapeless to see, but gains in shadows, radiating darkness, beginning inside my soul. At first, it has no name, no allegiance. As it grows, its brother fear and sister resentment always form a perforated snapshot, ripping away from my entirety. It's uninvited. It doesn't care. It pulls at the fascia of my muscles. It sees in my bone marrow. It pulses to the end of my extremities and then gathers strength like a fiery snowball slamming against my cranium, exploding with that elasticity towards my frontal lobe, ricocheting against my left, then my right, then my left, then my right hemispheres. It attempts to split me in half. It welcomes my defeat. It longs for victory in the pitch black. It yearns to absorb all light focused against my cornea as if my lids are shut tight. It will reproduce again and again and again unless I pierce my lips open and simply and quietly say, help me. And only then will the selfish child anxiety go silent. Perfect. Okay, I retired beginning of February, and the last 4 years of my life, I was outreaching single adults and veterans, and for the last 3 months, I was outreaching foster care, foster youth that were aging out of the system. And there started to be this regular chime that I would hear in their stories as they told me about their homeless history. And mother kept coming up. And I've been dealing with my own mom. So this is called Mother in Pieces, and it was inspired by Rumi's poem, Not Here, which begins, there's courage involved if you want to become truth. Mother in Pieces. Oh mother, how you repeat your words, they cycle like spokes on a bicycle, and around they come, from my left to my right. They stall at my ears like a gnat. I swat them away, and I slowly glance up. They are just words, just lovely, out of order words. I don't even try to rearrange or put them in semblance. Like the sun and the moon and the morning breeze through the Monterey pines, lifting a little sap, carrying a few seeds, I gently cross my legs, place my bent elbow on my thigh, my thumb under my chin, my index finger near my temple. I gently rub it. I look out through your second story open window. The sunlight shifts. A shadow stains the white picket fence below. You pause, and I no longer believe what I think. 1. Those late August afternoons in 1969, Philip and I pedaling our 3-wheeled Batmobiles up the newly asphalted street, the smell of tar following us into the cul-de-sac, glee upon our light sunburnt faces, the TV theme song snarling from our lips. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, Batman. Your voice echoes from the front door like an unwanted commercial break. Kids, goddammit, time for dinner. 2. A mini soldier dwarfed with fear. My first day of school. Starched baby blue button-down shirt. Greased hair parted on the left. That damn cowlick. My Jimco purchased Mickey Mouse lunchbox. I cried for pleading hours for you to purchase, now gripped tight in my right hand. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich on wheat and clothes. Those moments at Safeway where you refused to let us eat white bread. My smile exposing a missing front tooth, violently knocked out the night before. 3, standing in front of your friends at an impromptu gathering. You and Dad had returned from the Bahamas. Everyone warm-faced and jubilant from ice-cold beer and sweet wine. You confront me about the 16-year-old babysitter and what I had done with him. My little soft, unsullied body numb. I wanted to disappear, to fade into the avocado green shag carpet. I looked over my left shoulder, tears staining my 8-year-old face as he is escorted out the front door, becoming a tabooed memory, the ultimate shame blackening my soul. 4, that morning I woke still holding you in my arms. I, the child, you, the parent, your garments stained with urine, your statement in a Mad Dog 2020 blackout claiming you're Benjamin Franklin and you've just discovered electricity. I was just thankful you hadn't found the car keys. 5, 3 minutes into the B-52's Planet Claire, loudly ensnaring my college graduation party, you and I sit quietly in the darkened family room, smoking a loosely rolled joint. Everyone witnessing you were at times a very cool mom, especially when moods could be altered. 6, Thanksgiving Day 1983, I had baked Jiffy corn muffins with all my leftover indica shake. Dad's girlfriend Shelley had bought sweet butter, and we ate some of the oddly colored goods before dinner. Accidentally, the bird slid onto the dining room floor, and we all laughed until we cried, eating in merriment with no 2-second rule in place. I know you loved him more than you hated him, but you only ever shared the hate with us. 7, on your knees in front of my bright yellow runabout Pinto, as I attempted to pack the rest of my things, you begging me not to move and leave you alone, even though both my siblings still remained. And you were shacked up with another man. I think he was a golfer, a drinker. He wore a brown polyester. I listened that day and relented, but left you the following spring after you called me faggot, after we disagreed about who I can bring home and when. 8, last year, clearing out the family home of all possessions. You had refused to come home from the hospital. You never wanted to return. So many memories, so much pain, standing in each room and remembering, walking through with all the broken pieces, Mother. 9, leaning back, my hands on each thigh. I look over and you ask me if I'm all right. It's unfamiliar and awkward. Tea. How about some tea? I stand and walk towards the open window and close it tight.
Vincent! And then Nicole and Nudemon, just so we know what we're doing here.
David, do you want to play some of these in Mariana first?
Mariana?
Yeah, we had so many water and ocean references today, from the Ancient Mariner to, I don't know, there was just a lot of, so I was going to do my Mariana Trench.
Okay, hold on a second.
Oh, well.
Tears on my
And if anybody ever wants any of my little things, I brought a bunch of them, my little thematic, I call them snap books, but anyway. Hidden Earth, Fragile Earth, got a bunch. Fragile Earth, Sky, Hidden Women, City Song, Lost. Anyway, a couple dollars, and I'm getting my printer fixed, so it goes into repairs. Okay, anyway, I'll do one before the Mariana Trench to give David a chance to calibrate himself. Well, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Quintet of Time. Fingerprints in Memory. How do we remember softness? Tears dampen memory, endemic to moments lost yet summoned back like photographs. Eidetic glimpses of past contained like fingerprints, remembrance of touch, more real than spots of ink, the brush of a hand caught in a book of memory cataloged in forever. Today, the sky is full of fairy dust, stars sparkling through veils of magic. Your soul rides on wings, pouring into my heart, piercing it with gentleness. Tomorrow rests on my palm, open, empty, full of neither promise nor expectation. Pieces of tomorrow slip through my fingers like tears. Particles of soul drop silently. Yesterday fell in fog like dismembered rain, bodiless, yet permeating all the earth and sky in forgotten memories, scattered souls in dissipating fog, mourning the draught of time. This is something that just dropped into my hands, and I read it very seldom, and it goes back to Mother's Day in New Orleans. I don't know if you remember, this was 2013, but 19 people were injured in a Mother's Day parade in New Orleans, and it's all about the yellow flowers that are coming back after violence. 19 people injured in a Mother's Day parade, New Orleans, 7th Ward, May 2013. Children, adults, hurt by 3 gunmen shooting at their own lives, shooting at their own community, shooting at their families, their hopes, their future. 7th Ward was a vibrant community, birthplace to musicians, majors, artists, writers. Jelly Roll Martin called the 7th Ward home. Barney Biggert, Sidney Rochert, Frank Ocean, the producer Manny Fresh, and rappers Ms. X and MCL, civil rights leader A.P. Turode, and playwright Tyler Perry, authors Fatima Sheikh, Mona Lisa Saloy, names that roll off the tongue and scream out, we lived here, we created here, this is our birthplace. Their home is now singing with yellow flowers, creeping out of attics and through slats of floors, up through abandoned pavements, yellow flowers taking possession of homes as proxies for the banks who have foreclosed on Katrina's victims who could not pay mortgage on flooded homes, who could not repair broken pipes, broken lives, broken dreams. Serves them right, cries a voice from a bank. They didn't buy insurance. 7th Ward, forgotten like the wild dogs dying of abandonment, prowling their grief. Serves them right. Victims of cracked levees, drowned, dead, or abandoned to the creeping yellow flowers surrounding their ancestral homes. 3 respond like the cracked levees, their cracked lives cracked with cocaine and desperation, crack rifles and shoot desperately at yellow flowers. Mariana Trench. Okay, yeah, you might, this is just not working. I think I'll just
have like less than a
I've
minute.
backed up as much as I can. Okay, this is short. Plastic in the Mariana Trench. I just keep reading about the ocean, not only acidified, but suffocating, and this is the plastic in the Mariana Trench. The sea is permeated with plastic. Purples, oranges, yellows, strips and threads and dots of plastic fill life in the Mariana Trench. The belly of our ocean, its lowest point, filled with plastic, a garden of plastic blooming in the ocean, its darkest depths screaming plastic, creatures we have never met. Converge ravage in the trenches of the ocean, consuming plastic. Food is scarce at the bottom of the ocean. Life grabs at any floating flecks, finding their way miles beneath the surface, beginning their journey as human refuse, inundating our global seas, human damage, human responsibility. Serenity prayer? What seems it cannot be changed may not be accepted. Our greatest debt is to nature, to rid it of plastic, so that she may survive and her children be allowed to fill their tummies with nourishment, clean and pure, untainted with oil-sourced plastic. Change, never too late. Essential for survival. There is no serenity until we cease contaminating our world.
We have Nicole. Nicole. Give her a nice round. Yeah, you know how to do everything.
Yeah, just push it down.
The other way. Here.
Sorry, I know we're short on time, so we'll just get.
No,
I got it.
we're
Perfect.
good. We're really. I mean, you know, if it was bizarre. No, here.
I think I'm shrinking.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Sorry. Thank you. I haven't read here in like almost a year.
Yeah, I know.
Weird. Thank you.
I got it. Thank you. Now, thank you. She.
All right. This is actually something I wrote when the theme was garlic. It was like
That was a
what?
long time
that was
ago.
like August.
The thing's always garlic.
It's always garlic. Okay.
Garlic.
Garlic.
Yeah.
Garlic. Use garlic for everything. On your eggs, on your toast, even on your Christmas pot roast. If you prefer vegan food, we got recipes for you. Garlic raw, garlic fried, garlic crushed up on your french fries. Many things garlic can do. Get rid of vampires too. Nail it on your cross at night. Give those vampires a fright. Sprinkle garlic in the air. Garlic smells everywhere. Better than the smells on streets. Garlic smells you can't compete. Are you impressed? Yes, you are. So are we. We named our baby Garlic G. Happiest baby in our family. The world loves garlic. We do too. Shout it from the top of roofs. Lovers yell, we need more love. We yell back, no we don't, we need more garlic. A world sans garlic, we would die. From vampires, bland pot roast, boring eggs, regular french fries. Get your garlic while you can from Gilroy, Safeway, at the corner market from the very old man. Behind his counter he stands every day selling garlic bulbs. I bought a bulb from him today. He smiled and showed vampire fangs. Wait, vampires sell garlic? That can't be. Could it be? Oh my God, it's baby garlic. Gee, but then who are we? This is on the theme of this week's theme. It's so loud, I'm sorry for like screaming.
Let me just turn this down.
Yeah, this is on this week's theme is paint. It's
Yes.
paint, right?
Yes, paint.
Okay. Let me take 2 steps back. Too fast, the heart attack. Let me clarify. We don't see eye to eye or hear anything anymore. I loved you and you me, but we got distracted by all the little things. So small and insignificant, little biting words forgot what sacred grounds meant. It was different when we first met. It was, do you get what I mean? You understand. Yes, you understand me like no one else can. Life's messy with you and never need be a perfect draft. But yesterday you asked me something you never had. You asked me to elaborate and give a description. And that's when I knew you couldn't hear me the way you used to. Summer passed, then came fall. By winter, you couldn't hear me at all. And in January, everything came tumbling down. The life we created faded out with a sound. Little words gone, belly laughs gone, and the music we played are songs gone. You're holding my hand and I'm looking down on the sidewalk glossed over with rainwater. The rain looks loud. But alas, that's what I'll do. Can't hear a darn thing? I'll paint for you. Use every color in this world, rainbow this, rainbow that, anything to make your belly laugh. Because I love you and you love me, I'll paint our songs pink, silver, and neon green.
Yes, and our clincher closer, super duper bulldozer this evening is Dudeman, who'll be coming up here directly. Then we'll take care of these fine and wonderful, glorious prizes designed with your mind in mind. And I was going to ask either if you wanted to go on the mic. I don't know if we didn't have a chance to say that until just now. Oh, okay, all right. As long as you're cool.
Let's go to the graveyard in time. I told you, man. What you bring me out here for? I am scared. Go, dig him up. Dig him up. You still there 5 years, them guys, 500 yards, and you still dig him. Dig him up. Look, there ain't no meat on their bone. Look, it wiggles when I come, run. Ah! It's Dudeman. Dudeman here, Dudeman there. The birds do it. The trees do it. I heard the little thing say, paint. You know, it's paint on my cell walls. It smells like, it is. It's Dudeman. Doodle, yeah, birds do it. Dummy. Wait, I think I hear. Oh, man! Oh, man! Oh, man! Oh, man! What? I didn't hear you, oh, man. Oh, man, what do you think about the skunks? Skunk. I get excited, man. Oh, man. But you know what? The skunks do it. The birds do it. The flowers do it too. And I realized, why did you step in it? Shut that shit up. Let me smell it. That's the shit, man. You know what? He's got the yellow jacket up in the one French quarters. The yellow jacket. Yellow jacket struck that year. And everybody had a yellow jacket. And they brought them out in wagons. We go back, way back yonder. The year is 1830 in New Orleans. The yellow jacket struck that year. They had a rail. Only thing we could do with it is take them out. They drug them. That time in the Miami, Quick Eagle, he couldn't make it. He was a little pale, a little frail one. And they said, what? He barely make it. Minnie Thunder. In a partner was Osceola's great granddaddy that Osceola sold out, you see. So we diverted back to the swamps and became Seminoles of the Spaniard word means runaway. Hide it. Close the gate. close it, Alman!
All right. All right, so just so you know, of course, many people know, but some people aren't. When you signed in, you put your name next to a number. These cards, as you'll notice, have numbers on them. I have been